My dear friend, welcome. I am truly grateful that you have chosen to spend this precious time with me today. In a world where financial anxiety dominates the thoughts of countless individuals, where the vast majority live paycheck to paycheck despite unprecedented prosperity, you have made the conscious choice to seek something far more valuable: the timeless principles that separate wealth creators from wealth extractors. In the next hour, I will reveal to you why 99% of people never build real wealth, despite having access to more opportunities and resources than any generation in history. This is not about get-rich-quick schemes or investment tactics. This is about understanding the fundamental difference between those who create lasting wealth and those who perpetually struggle with money, regardless of their income level. Before we embark on this wealth-building journey together, I ask that you take a moment to like this message and subscribe, for when we gather as students of true wealth creation, we create the very abundance that elevates all of humanity. Chapter 1: The Great Deception of Financial Education. There exists a fundamental deception in how society teaches people to think about money, a deception so pervasive that it has infected every financial advice book, every investment seminar, and every well-meaning conversation about building wealth. This deception is the belief that wealth is about accumulation rather than creation, about extraction rather than contribution. The masses are taught to think like employees rather than owners, like consumers rather than producers, like wealth extractors rather than wealth creators. They focus on saving pennies rather than earning dollars, on cutting expenses rather than increasing value creation, on protecting what they have rather than expanding what they can contribute. When I examine the wealth-building philosophy of Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, who has built one of the largest fortunes in history through systematic value investing, I find a man who thinks fundamentally differently about money than 99% of the population. Buffett doesn't focus on making money. He focuses on creating value for society through intelligent capital allocation. Buffett's approach to wealth building is based on what he calls intrinsic value creation. He doesn't buy stocks to make quick profits. He buys pieces of businesses that create genuine value for customers and society. His wealth is a byproduct of his contribution to productive economic activity, not the result of financial manipulation or speculation. This principle separates true wealth builders from the 99% who struggle financially. The struggling masses think about money as something to be acquired from others. Wealth creators think about money as something to be generated through service to others. In studying the principles shared by Ray Dalio, the founder of Bridgewater Associates, who built the world's largest hedge fund, I find remarkable alignment with this value creation mindset. Dalio teaches that sustainable wealth comes from understanding fundamental economic realities rather than chasing market trends or following conventional wisdom. Dalio's approach to wealth building is systematic and principle-based. He studies how economies work, how markets function, and how value is created and destroyed over time. His wealth comes from his deep understanding of economic principles, not from speculation or market timing. The 99% who never build real wealth make a fundamental error. They focus on the effects of wealth rather than the causes. They study rich people's spending habits rather than their value creation systems. They chase investment returns rather than developing valuable skills. They focus on accumulating money rather than accumulating the capabilities that naturally attract money. This deception is reinforced by our educational system, which teaches people to be employees rather than entrepreneurs, to seek security rather than opportunity, to minimize risk rather than maximize value creation. The result is a population that thinks like wealth extractors rather than wealth creators. Chapter 2: The Value Creation Imperative. Real wealth is never created through extraction. It is always created through contribution. The fundamental law of wealth building is this: your income is directly proportional to the value you create for others. The more value you create, the more wealth naturally flows to you. John D. Rockefeller, who became America's first billionaire through building Standard Oil, understood this principle perfectly. Rockefeller didn't become wealthy by taking money from others. He became wealthy by dramatically reducing the cost of oil for everyone. His fortune was the market's reward for making energy more affordable and accessible. Rockefeller's systematic approach to value creation involved what he called efficiency at scale. He didn't just run an oil business. He revolutionized the entire energy industry by creating systems that could deliver oil products more efficiently than anyone else. His wealth was a direct result of the value he created for society. When I examine the wealth-building approach of Dave Ramsey, the personal finance expert who has helped millions of people escape debt and build wealth, I find a modern application of value creation principles. Ramsey built his fortune not by investing in complex financial instruments, but by creating genuine value for people struggling with money. Ramsey's approach to wealth building is based on what he calls serving your way to wealth. He identified a massive problem, financial illiteracy and debt bondage, and dedicated his life to solving it. His wealth flows naturally from the value he creates for his audience, not from financial manipulation or speculation. The value creation imperative reveals why most people never build real wealth. They're trying to extract value from the economy rather than create value for it. They want to make money without making a meaningful contribution. They seek to get rich without making others better off. Consider the difference between a day trader and a business builder. The day trader attempts to extract wealth from market fluctuations, creating no value for society. The business builder creates products or services that improve people's lives, generating wealth as a natural byproduct of value creation. Value creation manifests in multiple forms: solving problems, meeting needs, providing convenience, creating beauty, enabling efficiency, or expanding possibilities. The key insight is that sustainable wealth always flows to those who consistently create more value than they consume. Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, teaches this principle through his distinction between assets and liabilities. True assets are things that generate income by providing value to others. False assets are things that drain money while creating no value. Wealth builders focus on acquiring and creating true assets. Kiyosaki's approach to wealth building emphasizes what he calls financial intelligence, the ability to distinguish between value-creating and value-extracting activities. He teaches people to think like entrepreneurs and investors rather than employees and consumers. The value creation imperative explains why lottery winners often lose their fortunes within a few years. They receive money without developing value creation capabilities, so they lack the systems and mindset necessary to maintain and grow wealth. Money flows away from those who cannot create value just as surely as it flows toward those who can. Chapter 3. The Investment Mindset Revolution. The 99% who never build real wealth think like consumers. They evaluate every expenditure based on immediate pleasure or convenience. Wealth creators think like investors. They evaluate every expenditure based on its potential to generate future value or capability. This fundamental difference in thinking explains why two people with identical incomes can have completely different financial outcomes. The consumer mindset leads to lifestyle inflation and perpetual financial struggle. The investment mindset leads to capability expansion and exponential wealth growth. When Andrew Carnegie was a young telegraph operator earning minimal wages, he made a decision that would transform his financial future. Instead of spending his small salary on immediate pleasures, he invested in his own education and capability development. He studied business, learned about different industries, and developed relationships with successful people. Carnegie's investment in his own development paid exponential returns throughout his career. The knowledge and relationships he built as a young man became the foundation for his industrial empire. He understood that the best investment is always investment in yourself, your skills, knowledge, and relationships. In studying the investment philosophy of Cathie Wood, the innovative investor who founded ARK Invest and focuses on disruptive technologies, I find a modern application of investment thinking. Wood doesn't just invest money in companies, she invests her time and intellect in understanding transformative trends. Wood's approach to wealth building is based on what she calls disruptive innovation investing. She studies technological trends, develops deep expertise in emerging fields, and positions herself to benefit from major economic shifts. Her wealth comes from her investment in understanding the future, not from following conventional wisdom. The investment mindset revolution requires fundamentally changing how you think about money. Instead of asking, how much does this cost? You ask, what return will this generate? Instead of thinking about expense, you think about investment. Instead of focusing on price, you focus on value. This mindset shift applies to every area of life. The 99% see education as an expense to be minimized. Wealth creators see education as an investment to be maximized. The 99% see networking events as social obligations. Wealth creators see them as relationship investment opportunities. The investment mindset also changes how you think about risk. The 99% see risk as something to be avoided. Wealth creators see intelligent risk as something to be embraced. They understand that the greatest risk is not taking any risks, staying in low-growth situations while inflation erodes purchasing power. Consider how this applies to career decisions. The 99% choose jobs based on immediate salary and security. Wealth creators choose opportunities based on learning potential and future value creation capability. They're willing to sacrifice immediate income for long-term wealth-building potential. The investment mindset extends to time allocation as well. The 99% spend time on consumption, watching television, browsing social media, engaging in activities that provide immediate pleasure but no future value. Wealth creators invest time in activities that compound, learning, creating, building relationships, developing systems. This principle explains why wealth building accelerates over time for those who embrace the investment mindset. Every investment in capability, knowledge, or relationships creates the foundation for larger future investments. Compound growth occurs not just in financial markets, but in personal development and value creation capability. Chapter 4: The Ownership Paradigm. The fundamental difference between the wealthy and the struggling masses is the ownership paradigm. The 99% think like employees, trading time for money, depending on others for their financial security. The 1% think like owners, creating systems that generate value and income independent of their personal time. This paradigm shift is not just about starting businesses, though entrepreneurship is one path to ownership. It's about owning your financial destiny through assets that appreciate and generate income, skills that create value in multiple contexts, and systems that work for you rather than you working for them. When Henry Ford revolutionized manufacturing with the assembly line, he wasn't just creating an efficient production system. He was creating ownership of an entire economic ecosystem. Ford owned the processes, the technology, the distribution channels, and the brand. His wealth came from ownership, not from employment. Ford's approach to wealth building was systematic and comprehensive. He didn't just own a car company. He owned every aspect of car production, from raw materials to finished products. This vertical integration created multiple streams of value and insulated him from economic volatility. When I examine the ownership strategies of modern tech entrepreneurs, I find similar patterns of systematic ownership development. Jeff Bezos didn't just start an online bookstore. He built ownership of digital commerce infrastructure, cloud computing services, and media distribution systems. Bezos's approach to wealth building demonstrates the power of platform ownership. Instead of competing in existing markets, he created new markets and owned the platforms that enabled them. Amazon Web Services generates enormous wealth because Bezos owns the infrastructure that powers much of the internet. The ownership paradigm applies to personal development as well. The 99% rent their skills. They develop capabilities that are valuable only within specific employment contexts. Wealth creators own their skills. They develop capabilities that create value across multiple contexts and can be leveraged in various ways. Consider the difference between a specialist employee and a specialist consultant. Both may have identical skills, but the consultant owns their expertise as an asset that can be leveraged with multiple clients, while the employee rents their expertise to a single employer. Intellectual property represents another form of ownership that the 99% rarely consider. Authors, inventors, and creators who own their intellectual property can generate income from their ideas long after the initial work is completed. This creates what Robert Kiyosaki calls passive income, money that flows without ongoing time investment. The ownership paradigm also extends to financial investments. The 99% focus on saving money in low-yield accounts, essentially lending their money to banks for minimal returns. Wealth creators focus on owning assets, stocks, real estate, businesses that appreciate over time and generate ongoing income. Real estate investment exemplifies the ownership paradigm in action. When you buy rental property, you own an asset that provides monthly income, appreciates over time, offers tax advantages, and can be leveraged to acquire additional properties. This creates multiple forms of wealth building simultaneously. The transition from employee mindset to ownership mindset requires developing what I call owner's vision, the ability to see opportunities for creating and owning value-generating assets. This vision develops through study, experience, and systematic exposure to ownership thinking people. Ownership thinking also changes how you evaluate opportunities. Instead of asking, "How much will this pay me?" you ask, "What will I own after this experience?" Instead of focusing on immediate compensation, you focus on long-term asset accumulation and value creation capability. Chapter 5, The Compound Interest Advantage. Albert Einstein reportedly called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world, declaring that he who understands it earns it, he who doesn't pays it. This principle is perhaps the most powerful wealth-building force available to individuals, yet the 99% either don't understand it or fail to harness its power. Compound interest is not just about financial investments. It's about the exponential growth that occurs when any value-creating activity builds upon itself over time. The wealthy understand this principle and systematically apply it to investments, skills, relationships, and business development. Warren Buffett's entire investment philosophy is built around harnessing compound interest for wealth creation. Buffett started investing as a teenager and has allowed compound growth to work for over 7 decades. His wealth demonstrates the extraordinary power of starting early and remaining consistent. Buffett's approach to compound interest goes beyond financial investments. He has systematically compounded his knowledge, reputation, and relationships over decades. Each year of experience makes him a better investor, which generates better returns, which provides more capital for future investments. The mathematical power of compound interest is staggering when properly understood. A person who invests $200 per month starting at age 25 and earns 10% annual returns will have over $1.3 million by age 65. A person who waits until age 35 to start the same investment program will have only about $500,000 by age 65. This 10-year delay costs over $800,000 in final wealth, demonstrating why starting early is more important than investing large amounts. The 99% typically delay investing until they feel they have enough money, not realizing that time is more valuable than the amount of money invested. But compound interest extends far beyond financial investments. Skills compound when new learning builds upon previous knowledge. A programmer who learns one language can learn subsequent languages faster because the fundamental concepts compound. A salesperson who masters relationship building can apply those skills across multiple industries and contexts. Relationships compound as well. Each meaningful connection can lead to additional connections, creating network effects that exponentially expand opportunities. The wealthy systematically cultivate relationships that compound their capabilities and opportunities over time. Business value compounds when systems and processes improve incrementally over time. Amazon's compound growth comes from continuously improving customer experience, which increases customer loyalty, which generates more data to improve recommendations, which further improves customer experience. The 99% fail to harness compound interest because they think linearly rather than exponentially. They focus on immediate results rather than long-term growth. They want quick returns rather than sustainable wealth building. They abandon compound strategies before they reach the exponential growth phase. Compound interest requires what I call patience with the process and urgency with the implementation. You must start immediately to capture the maximum time benefit, but you must also maintain consistency over years or decades to realize the full compound effect. The compound interest advantage also explains why debt is so destructive to wealth building. When you carry high interest debt, compound interest works against you rather than for you. Credit card debt compounds monthly, quickly becoming overwhelming for those who don't understand its mathematical progression. Dave Ramsey's debt elimination strategies are fundamentally about stopping negative compound interest and redirecting those resources toward positive compound interest. His debt snowball method creates psychological momentum, while his investment strategies harness compound growth for wealth building. The compound interest advantage reveals why small, consistent actions are more powerful than large, sporadic efforts. The person who saves $10 per day consistently will build more wealth than the person who occasionally saves large amounts, because consistency enables compound growth, while sporadic behavior prevents it. Chapter 6. The Value-Adding Mindset. The 99% approach every situation asking, "What can I get from this?" Wealth creators approach every situation asking, "What value can I add here?" This fundamental difference in perspective determines whether you attract or repel wealth-building opportunities. The value-adding mindset recognizes that wealth flows to those who consistently make others better off. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to create value, build relationships, and demonstrate capabilities that can lead to future opportunities. When Dale Carnegie wrote How to Win Friends and Influence People, he wasn't teaching manipulation techniques, he was teaching the value-adding mindset. Carnegie understood that genuine influence comes from genuinely caring about others and seeking ways to help them achieve their goals. Carnegie's approach to relationship building was systematic and value-focused. He studied human psychology, developed frameworks for understanding people's needs and motivations, and created systems for consistently adding value to every interaction. His wealth and influence flowed naturally from his commitment to serving others. In studying the business philosophy of Gary Vaynerchuk, the entrepreneur and media personality who built multiple companies through value-first thinking, I find a modern application of the value-adding mindset. Vaynerchuk teaches what he calls giving first, providing value before expecting anything in return. Vaynerchuk's approach to wealth building is based on what he calls attention arbitrage, providing so much value that people willingly give you their attention, which can then be monetized through various business models. His wealth comes from his systematic commitment to adding value to his audience. The value-adding mindset transforms how you approach networking and relationship building. Instead of attending events to make connections, you attend events to help people solve problems. Instead of seeking introductions for your benefit, you make introductions that benefit others. This mindset shift creates what I call magnetic attraction for opportunities. When you consistently add value without immediate expectation of return, people naturally want to reciprocate. They think of you when opportunities arise because they trust your commitment to mutual benefit. The value-adding mindset also changes how you approach employment and business relationships. Instead of focusing on your salary or compensation, you focus on your contribution and impact. Instead of doing the minimum required, you seek ways to exceed expectations and create additional value. This approach leads to what entrepreneurs call intrapreneurship, acting like an entrepreneur within an employment context. Entrepreneurs identify opportunities to improve processes, solve problems, and create value within their organizations, often leading to promotions, raises, or business opportunities. The value-adding mindset applies to customer relationships as well. The 99% focus on making sales and maximizing profit margins. Wealth creators focus on solving customer problems and maximizing customer success, understanding that long-term wealth comes from repeat business and referrals. Amazon's customer obsession philosophy exemplifies the value-adding mindset in business. Jeff Bezos built Amazon around the principle of adding maximum value for customers, trusting that profits would follow naturally from customer satisfaction. This approach created one of the world's most valuable companies. The value-adding mindset requires developing what I call contribution consciousness, awareness of opportunities to help others succeed. This consciousness develops through practice, study of others' needs and challenges, and systematic cultivation of problem-solving capabilities. Value addition doesn't always require money or resources. Often it requires knowledge, connections, encouragement, or creative solutions. The wealthy become skilled at identifying and providing the specific types of value that others most need. The value-adding mindset also creates personal fulfillment that transcends financial rewards. When your wealth comes from serving others and solving problems, you experience the deep satisfaction that comes from meaningful contribution to human flourishing. Chapter 7. The Multiple Income Streams Strategy. The 99% depend on a single income source, typically employment, for their financial security. This creates enormous vulnerability and limits wealth-building potential. Wealth creators systematically develop multiple income streams that provide security, growth potential, and synergistic benefits. The multiple income stream strategy is not about working more hours. It's about creating systems that generate income with minimal ongoing time investment. These systems leverage your skills, knowledge, and resources to create value for others while building wealth for yourself. John D. Rockefeller didn't build wealth through a single oil business. He created an integrated system of businesses that supported and amplified each other. His refining operations supported his distribution network, which supported his retail operations, which supported his transportation systems. Rockefeller's approach demonstrates the power of synergistic income streams, multiple revenue sources that strengthen each other rather than competing for resources. Each business unit made the others more valuable and efficient, creating compound growth across his entire enterprise. When I examine the income strategies of modern entrepreneurs like Tim Ferriss, author of The 4-Hour Workweek, I find systematic approaches to creating multiple income streams that work independently of time investment. Ferriss teaches what he calls lifestyle design, creating income systems that support your ideal lifestyle. Ferriss's approach to multiple income streams focuses on what he calls automation and delegation, creating systems that generate income without requiring constant personal attention. His wealth comes from books, courses, investments, and businesses that operate with minimal direct involvement. The multiple income stream strategy typically includes several categories of income. Earned income from employment or consulting provides immediate cash flow and skill development. Investment income from stocks, bonds, and real estate provides passive growth and compound returns. Business income from companies you own provides leverage and unlimited growth potential. Royalty income from intellectual property provides ongoing returns from past creative work. Each income stream should serve multiple purposes, providing current income, building future wealth, developing valuable skills, or creating synergistic benefits with other income sources. The goal is not just diversification, but strategic integration of wealth-building activities. Real estate investing exemplifies the multiple income streams principle in action. Rental properties provide monthly cash flow. Appreciation builds long-term wealth. Depreciation provides tax benefits, and equity can be leveraged to acquire additional properties. One asset creates multiple forms of wealth building. The digital economy has created unprecedented opportunities for multiple income streams. Content creators can monetize their expertise through courses, coaching, affiliate marketing, sponsorships, and product sales. Technology enables one person to serve thousands of customers with scalable business models. Robert Kiyosaki teaches the importance of moving from the employee quadrant to the business owner and investor quadrants. Employees trade time for money. Business owners create systems that generate money. Investors use money to make more money. Wealth builders operate in multiple quadrants simultaneously. The multiple income stream strategy requires systematic development over time. You start with one additional income source, master it, then add another. Each new stream should build upon your existing knowledge, skills, or resources rather than requiring completely new capabilities. The strategy also provides psychological benefits beyond financial security. When you have multiple income sources, you can take risks with individual streams because your survival doesn't depend on any single source. This enables more aggressive growth strategies and entrepreneurial opportunities. The 99% resist multiple income streams because they seem complex or overwhelming. Wealth creators embrace them because they understand that complexity on the front end creates simplicity on the back end. Multiple income streams eventually provide more security than single income sources. Chapter 8: The Delayed Gratification Advantage. Perhaps no single characteristic separates wealth builders from the financially struggling masses more than their relationship with delayed gratification. The ability to sacrifice immediate pleasure for long-term gain is the psychological foundation of all wealth creation. The famous Stanford marshmallow experiment demonstrated that children who could delay gratification, waiting for a second marshmallow rather than eating one immediately, had significantly better life outcomes decades later. This same principle applies to wealth building at every level. Andrew Carnegie demonstrated delayed gratification throughout his wealth-building journey. As a young man, he lived far below his means, saving and investing every possible dollar rather than spending on immediate pleasures. He understood that every dollar saved and invested would compound over time to create far greater future wealth. Carnegie's approach to delayed gratification extended beyond money to career development. He accepted lower-paying positions that offered learning opportunities rather than higher-paying jobs with limited growth potential. He invested his time in developing capabilities that would generate future wealth rather than current comfort. In studying the spending habits of Warren Buffett, one of the world's wealthiest individuals, I find remarkable examples of delayed gratification in practice. Despite having billions in wealth, Buffett lives in the same modest home he bought in 1958, drives older cars, and maintains simple spending habits. Buffett's delayed gratification isn't about deprivation, it's about understanding opportunity cost. Every dollar spent on lifestyle inflation is a dollar that can't compound through investment. Buffett has calculated that a $300,000 luxury car today might cost him $30 million in future wealth when compound interest is considered. The delayed gratification advantage manifests in multiple areas of wealth building. The 99% finance depreciating assets like cars and consumer goods, paying interest that compounds against them. Wealth creators delay these purchases until they can afford them with cash, or they buy appreciating assets first and let those fund lifestyle purchases later. Consider the difference between buying a new car with financing versus investing that same monthly payment. A potent $500 monthly car payment over 7 years costs $42,000 plus interest. That same $500 invested monthly at 10% return would grow to over $100,000 in 7 years, enough to buy multiple cars with cash. The delayed gratification principle applies to career development as well. The 99% seek immediate salary increases and job security. Wealth creators often sacrifice immediate income to develop skills, build businesses, or gain experience that will generate far greater long-term returns. Professional athletes who achieve lasting wealth demonstrate delayed gratification by living below their means during their playing careers and investing for life after sports. Those who spend their entire salaries on lifestyle often face financial difficulties when their playing careers end. In examining the investment philosophy of Ray Dalio, I find systematic approaches to delayed gratification in portfolio management. Dalio teaches that successful investing requires resisting the temptation to chase short-term gains and instead building positions that will generate wealth over decades. Dalio's all-weather portfolio strategy is designed to perform well over long time periods rather than maximizing returns in any particular year. This approach requires the delayed gratification to accept modest returns consistently rather than seeking spectacular gains immediately. The delayed gratification advantage compounds because it enables participation in opportunities that require time to mature. Real estate appreciation, business development, skill acquisition, and relationship building all require extended time horizons to generate maximum returns. The 99% miss these opportunities because they need immediate returns to fund their lifestyle expenses. They can't invest in real estate because they've committed their cash flow to car payments. They can't start businesses because they've committed their time to maintaining high-expense lifestyles. Delayed gratification also provides psychological advantages in wealth building. When you're not dependent on immediate financial returns, you can make better long-term decisions. You can hold investments through market volatility, negotiate from positions of strength, and take calculated risks for higher returns. The principle applies to business development as well. Companies that reinvest profits for growth rather than distributing them to owners often achieve greater long-term value. Amazon famously showed minimal profits for years while reinvesting everything into growth, creating enormous long-term shareholder value. The delayed gratification advantage is ultimately about understanding that time is your greatest wealth-building asset. The earlier you start sacrificing immediate gratification for long-term gain, the more time compound interest has to work in your favor. Chapter 9, the Financial Intelligence Framework. The 99% who never build real wealth suffer from a fundamental lack of financial intelligence. They don't understand how money actually works in the modern economy. They confuse income with wealth, assets with liabilities, and financial activity with financial progress. Financial intelligence is not about complex investment strategies or advanced mathematics. It's about understanding the fundamental principles that govern how wealth is created, preserved, and transferred in economic systems. This intelligence enables you to make decisions that build wealth rather than destroy it. Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad framework provides a foundational understanding of financial intelligence through the distinction between assets and liabilities. Assets put money in your pocket, liabilities take money out of your pocket. Wealth builders systematically acquire assets while minimizing liabilities. Kiyosaki's framework reveals why many high-income professionals never build wealth. They acquire what they think are assets, expensive homes, luxury cars, that are actually liabilities requiring ongoing cash flow to maintain. Their high incomes support high expenses rather than building wealth. When I examine the financial education approaches of Dave Ramsey, I find systematic methods for developing financial intelligence through practical application. Ramsey teaches what he calls baby steps, a sequential approach to financial health that builds intelligence through experience. Ramsey's approach to financial intelligence emphasizes understanding cash flow, debt mathematics, and investment fundamentals before pursuing complex strategies. His system builds financial intelligence gradually while creating measurable progress toward wealth building. Financial intelligence includes understanding the difference between good debt and bad debt. Good debt enables the acquisition of appreciating assets or income-generating opportunities. Bad debt finances consumption or depreciating assets. The financially intelligent systematically eliminate bad debt while strategically using good debt. The framework also includes understanding tax implications of different wealth-building strategies. The tax code provides incentives for certain types of investments and business activities. Financial intelligence enables you to structure your wealth building to minimize tax burden legally and ethically. Real estate investing demonstrates financial intelligence in action. Sophisticated real estate investors understand cash flow analysis, appreciation potential, tax benefits, financing options, and market cycles. This intelligence enables them to identify opportunities that others miss and avoid mistakes that others make. Financial intelligence also includes understanding market cycles and economic trends. The financially intelligent recognize that markets move in cycles, and they position themselves to benefit from these cycles rather than being victimized by them. Ray Dalio's principles approach to investing demonstrates sophisticated financial intelligence applied to portfolio management. Dalio studies economic cycles, currency relationships, and global trends to position investments for success across different market conditions. The financial intelligence framework includes understanding the difference between speculation and investment. Speculation involves taking risks based on hope or prediction. Investment involves taking calculated risks based on analysis and evidence. The financially intelligent invest rather than speculate. Financial intelligence also encompasses understanding leverage, how to use other people's money to amplify your returns. This includes understanding when leverage is appropriate, how much leverage is safe, and how to structure leverage to minimize risk while maximizing opportunity. The framework extends to understanding business structures, legal protections, and wealth preservation strategies. Advanced financial intelligence includes knowing how to protect wealth from lawsuits, taxes, and economic volatility while maintaining growth potential. Financial intelligence develops through systematic study, practical application, and learning from both successes and failures. The financially intelligent continuously upgrade their knowledge as economic conditions and opportunities evolve. The 99% avoid developing financial intelligence because it seems complex or unnecessary. Wealth creators embrace financial intelligence because they understand that financial ignorance is the most expensive ignorance of all. Chapter 10: Implementation. The Wealth Builder's Blueprint. Now we must transform these wealth-building principles into a systematic blueprint that can generate real results in your financial life. The Wealth Builder's Blueprint provides a structured approach to implementing the principles that separate the 1% from the 99%. Phase 1, Foundation Building, months 1 to 6, begin by conducting a complete financial audit of your current situation. Calculate your net worth by listing all assets and liabilities. Analyze your cash flow by tracking every income source and expense for at least 1 month. This honest assessment provides the baseline for your wealth-building journey. Eliminate high-interest consumer debt using Dave Ramsey's debt snowball method. List all debts from smallest to largest, make minimum payments on all debts, and put every extra dollar toward the smallest debt until it's eliminated. This creates psychological momentum while stopping negative compound interest. Establish an emergency fund equal to 3 to 6 months of expenses. This fund provides security that enables you to take calculated risks and make long-term investments without fear of short-term financial emergencies. Keep this fund in a liquid, safe account. Begin developing your financial intelligence through systematic education. Read books by Warren Buffett, Robert Kiyosaki, and Ray Dalio. Take courses on investing, real estate, and business. The investment in your financial education will pay dividends throughout your wealth-building journey. Phase 2, Asset Accumulation, months 6 to 24. Start investing in appreciating assets immediately after establishing your emergency fund. Begin with broad market index funds that provide diversification and compound growth over time. Automate your investments to ensure consistency regardless of market conditions. Develop your first additional income stream based on your existing skills and knowledge. This might involve consulting, freelancing, or creating digital products. The goal is to generate additional cash flow that can be invested in wealth-building assets. Consider real estate investment opportunities in your local market. Start by learning about cash flow analysis, financing options, and market conditions. Your first real estate investment should be conservative and cash flow positive. Increase your earning potential through skill development and value creation. Invest in training, certifications, or education that will increase your market value. The highest return investment is often investment in your own capabilities. Phase 3, Acceleration, months 24 to 60. Reinvest the cash flow from your initial assets to acquire additional income-producing assets. This creates compound growth as each asset generates income that can be used to acquire more assets. Develop additional income streams that leverage your growing expertise and network. Each new income stream should build upon your existing knowledge and relationships rather than requiring completely new capabilities. Consider business ownership opportunities that align with your skills and market knowledge. Business ownership provides leverage, tax advantages, and unlimited growth potential that employment cannot match. Optimize your tax situation through legal strategies that maximize wealth retention. This might include retirement account contributions, business structure optimization, and real estate tax benefits. Phase 4, Optimization, years 5 plus, focus on optimizing your portfolio for maximum risk-adjusted returns. This might involve more sophisticated investment strategies, geographic diversification, or alternative investments. Develop passive income streams that require minimal ongoing management. The goal is to create enough passive income to cover your living expenses, providing true financial freedom. Consider wealth preservation and estate planning strategies to protect your accumulated wealth and transfer it efficiently to future generations or charitable causes. Begin sharing your wealth-building knowledge and experience with others. Teaching others reinforces your own learning while creating additional income opportunities and relationship benefits. Critical success principles maintain delayed gratification throughout the process. Every dollar spent on lifestyle inflation is a dollar that can't compound for future wealth. Live below your means and invest the difference consistently. Focus on value creation in all your wealth-building activities. The most sustainable wealth comes from serving others and solving problems, not from financial manipulation or speculation. Develop systems and processes that enable compound growth. Automation, delegation, and systematization allow your wealth-building efforts to compound over time. Continuously educate yourself about changing economic conditions, investment opportunities, and wealth-building strategies. Financial intelligence must evolve as markets and opportunities change. Build relationships with other wealth builders who can share knowledge, opportunities, and accountability. Your network becomes a multiplier for your wealth-building efforts. Closing your wealth creation journey. Now, my friend, you understand why 99% of people never build real wealth and possess the principles that will place you among the 1% who achieve true financial freedom. You have learned that wealth creation is not about accumulation but about contribution, not about extraction but about value creation. Take immediate action on your Wealth Builder's Blueprint. Begin today by conducting your financial audit, eliminating destructive debt, and establishing your emergency fund. Start tomorrow by making your first investment in appreciating assets and beginning your financial education journey. Remember that wealth building is not a get-rich-quick scheme, but a systematic process that rewards patience, consistency, and intelligent action. Focus on creating value for others, developing multiple income streams, and allowing compound interest to work its mathematical magic over time. Most importantly, understand that true wealth is not just about financial resources. It is about the freedom to serve others at the highest level, to contribute to causes greater than yourself, and to leave a legacy that improves the world for future generations. Your wealth-building journey begins not with your first investment, but with your first decision to think like a wealth creator rather than a wealth extractor. When you commit to creating value rather than extracting it, you align yourself with the fundamental laws of prosperity. If this message has revealed new pathways for wealth creation, I ask that you like this video and subscribe to join our growing community of value-driven wealth builders. Together, we are building the Thought Leaders Mindset Community, a gathering of individuals committed to creating prosperity through service and contribution. Your financial freedom lifts all of us. When you build wealth through value creation, you demonstrate what becomes possible when individual excellence serves collective good. When you achieve financial independence through contribution rather than extraction, you inspire others to follow the same principled path. Until we meet again, create value consistently, invest wisely, and build wealth that serves humanity's highest good. The world needs financially free individuals who can dedicate their resources to solving important problems and serving worthy causes. Your wealth creation journey begins now. The question is not whether you can build lasting wealth. The question is whether you will commit to the principles and practices that make wealth building inevitable.